They asked me to co-sign a loan, just temporarily. I did it to help. Months later, I found out they took the money, bought a luxury car, and told my grandkids, "Grandma's just bitter because she's poor." When debt collectors started calling me, I took action they never expected. And the day their new car was repossessed in front of their neighbors, I whispered, "I never thought I'd be the kind of woman who needed to protect herself from her own daughter. But here I am." This all started last summer. I was at my kitchen table, folding laundry and watching the news with the volume too low, when my daughter Sarah called. She came right out and asked, "Mom, can you help us co-sign a loan? Just temporarily." Her voice was casual, like she was asking me to pick up milk. I didn't say yes right away. I asked what it was for, and she got defensive. "It's nothing sketchy," she said. "Just some consolidation stuff. We're just trying to get our credit up. We'll refinance it under our names in 6 months, max." Her husband, Derek, got on the phone too. I've never trusted him fully. Something about the way he talks, too smooth. Like everything's a pitch. He told me this would actually help me too, because once their credit improved, they'd be in a better position to help me out if I ever needed it. That line stuck in my throat later. Still, I said I'd think about it. And I did. I thought about the nights I stayed up feeding Sarah when she had colic. The times I drove her to softball practice after working a double. The time I gave her money from my emergency savings when Derek lost his job 2 years ago and unemployment was delayed. I told myself she wouldn't hurt me. So I co-signed. Sat at that bank branch like a fool, smiling like I was part of something helpful. I didn't even ask enough questions. They said it was a personal loan, unsecured. I thought, okay, it's not a mortgage or anything. Still $42,000. That's not chump change. 2 months went by, and nothing seemed out of place. I'd call, ask how things were going, and Sarah would brush it off. "Everything's fine, Mom." Then one Saturday, I dropped by unannounced to bring the kids a cake I baked. And that's when I saw the car. A brand new, shiny black BMW X5. Parked right in the driveway like a prize. I stood there staring at it. My eyes went straight to the custom license plate. Livinger 8. I remember my hands started shaking. Asked the kids whose car it was. "My dad's," the younger one shouted. "He says he worked hard for it." When Sarah came outside, I asked her directly, "Is this what the loan was for?" She had the audacity to laugh. "Don't be dramatic. It's handled." That was it. It's handled. No epalegi, no explanation. Like I was being difficult for even asking. I drove home and sat in my car for half an hour before going inside. My stomach hurt. My chest felt like it was being squeezed. A few weeks later, the letters started coming. Payment reminders. Then missed payments. All with my name attached. I called Sarah in a panic. She didn't answer. I left voicemails. Nothing. The collections call came on a Tuesday around 2 p.m. I remember the exact time, because I just made tea. The man on the phone was polite but firm. "You are listed as a cosigner, so you are equally responsible for this loan." I felt dizzy. My hands were sweating. I told him there must be some mistake. There wasn't. When I finally got Sarah to pick up the phone again, she was irritated. "Why are you making this a thing, Mom?" she snapped. "It's not even that far behind. It'll get sorted." I said, "I'm getting calls. Letters. You're messing with my credit," she said, and I quote, "Maybe you should have thought about that before getting all emotional over a car." That's when something inside me broke. Not all at once. Just this slow, painful realization. She doesn't care. Then one night, my grandkids were over. We were watching TV and the older one, the 13-year-old, asked, "Grandma, why are you always so negative about Mom and Dad?" "Dad says you're just bitter because you're poor." Those words came from my daughter's mouth into her child's. I held it together until they left. Then I cried. I hadn't cried like that in years. Not even when I lost my husband. I couldn't sleep after that. I started keeping a notebook by my bed, writing down everything I remembered. Every payment. Every call. Every cruel sentence Sarah had said since this started. I printed out every document I had. Screenshots of their Instagram posts flaunting the car, dinners out, spa days. Derek in front of the BMW with a caption, "Manifested this." Sarah bragging about finally getting what we deserve. I made a binder. Color-coded tabs. I put every late notice, every statement, every message in there. Then I called a lawyer. A woman in Central Phoenix. Her office was modest but clean. I told her everything. I remember she didn't flinch when I cried, just handed me tissues and kept taking notes. "You have a strong case," she said. "They used your credit to enrich themselves, then left you holding the bag." She helped me file a civil suit. We listed fraud, misrepresentation, and breach of verbal agreement. I didn't know you could sue your own daughter. I didn't want to, but I had to. When the court date came, Sarah and Derek didn't even show. The judge ruled in my favor by default. I felt nothing. No victory. Just hollow relief. Then we moved forward with collections. I found out the BMW was in Sarah's name alone. Easier to target. The repossession was scheduled. That morning, I drove to their street and parked 2 houses down. I watched from inside my old Camry. The tow truck pulled in. The driver clipped the wheels and started the lift. Sarah came running out in pajama shorts and a tank top, screaming. Derek came out shirtless, trying to argue. The neighbors stood outside watching. And that's when I got out. I walked up behind her. She turned, eyes wide. I leaned in close and whispered, "I may be poor, but I never stole from my own mother." She stared like she didn't know me. And honestly, maybe she didn't. That was the day the real payback began. After the car was hauled off, I thought maybe, just maybe, that would wake her up. I thought she'd call me, apologize, cry, something. But no. That night, she posted on Facebook. It said, "Some people are so jealous, they'll ruin their own blood just to feel powerful." Pathetic. Dozens of likes. Her friends chiming in. "You don't need that negativity. Cut toxic people out." I wasn't even named, but I didn't need to be. Everyone knew. The next day, my mailbox was stuffed with garbage. Old fast food wrappers. An empty coffee cup. I didn't have proof, but I knew it was them. It kept happening. Once, someone even poured beer into my flower bed. I reported it to the police. They said there wasn't much they could do without cameras. So I bought a camera, mounted it by the porch. Quietly. No warning. A week later, I caught Derek walking by around 11:30 p.m. tossing a bag of trash onto my lawn. I sent the video to my lawyer. We added harassment to the civil case. Then came the smear campaign. Sarah told everyone I'd gifted her the money and changed my mind out of spite. She told my sister, my cousins, even the women at my old church. People started treating me differently. A few stopped returning my calls. One woman, someone I'd worked with for 20 years, pulled me aside and asked, "Did you really try to see your own daughter over a car?" That cut deep. I was humiliated. I hadn't done anything wrong, but now I was the villain in her story. Meanwhile, she and Derek kept pretending like they were the victims. They told the kids I was unstable, said I wasn't safe to be around. That broke me more than anything. For months, I didn't see my grandkids. Birthdays came and went. I left gifts on the porch, never heard back. I used to pick them up from school. Now I wasn't allowed near them. Sarah even blocked me on everything. I stayed quiet. For a while. But inside, I was boiling. I kept thinking, how did it come to this? And then I remembered the one thing Sarah always underestimated about me. I never quit. While they were busy playing the victim online, I kept building my case. I found out they'd used part of the loan money to pay off Derek's gambling debts, about $9,000 at a local casino. I got the statements. My lawyer subpoenaed their bank records. We discovered multiple cash withdrawals right after the loan hit their account. None of it went to anything they told the bank. It was fraud. Plain and simple. Then we dug deeper. Turns out, Derek had taken out 2 other small personal loans under fake employer info. That was a federal offense. We reported it. Soon after, the pressure started hitting them. Hard. Their bank account got frozen, pending court judgment. A lien was placed on the rest of their property. Their utilities were behind. Then I got a letter from their mortgage company. Turns out, they'd missed 2 house payments. They were spiraling. One day, Sarah showed up at my house. No warning. Banged on the door, like she owned it. I didn't open it first, but she wouldn't stop. So I opened it. She was crying. Not the kind of crying you do when you're sorry. The kind you do when you've been caught. "You ruined our lives," she screamed. "You want us homeless?" I didn't yell. I just said, "You did this." She said, "We're family." I said, "Family doesn't steal. Family doesn't lie to their own mother and teach their kids to hate her." She wiped her face and said, "You're bitter. That's what this is. You're mad because I finally have something and you never did." I just stared at her. Then I said, "I raised you better than this." "I thought I did, anyway." She left. That night, she posted another rant. Some people would rather destroy their own daughter than admit they're lonely and old. I didn't reply. I didn't need to. Because something bigger was coming. And she wasn't ready for it. Just when I thought I had uncovered everything, another truth came out. One that changed how I saw everything that had happened. It started with a letter from a lawyer. Not mine. This one came certified, addressed to me from a law firm I didn't recognize. I opened it, hands shaking like always now, expecting another surprise bill or some threat from Sarah and Derek. But it wasn't that. It was a notification. Sarah and Derek were filing for bankruptcy. Chapter 7. They listed me as one of their personal creditors. They were trying to wipe the loan clean, my loan, and include me as some kind of side note in their financial mess. I took the letter to my attorney. She was furious. "They're trying to absolve themselves and leave you with nothing," she said. I could contest it, and I did. We filed immediately. But bankruptcy court is different. Slower. Colder. While that was happening, I found something else. I was sorting through a box of old documents, insurance papers, Sarah's school awards, random old files, when I found a handwritten note, folded twice, and hidden inside a book. It was dated years ago. From my husband. A short letter he wrote before he died, addressed to Sarah. It said in his messy pen, "Sarah, if you ever fall on hard times, your mother will always help you. But don't take advantage of her kindness. I've seen how you look at money. Be better than that." I just sat there, holding that letter, unable to breathe. My husband had seen it. Even when she was young, he'd seen what I refused to admit. Sarah has always had a mean streak when it came to money. She resented not having more growing up. She resented me for the hand-me-downs for the part-time jobs. And now, as an adult, she thought she was owed something for it. Meanwhile, Derek had been out of work for months. Not between jobs like they claimed, fired. My lawyer pulled employment records. He'd been fired for ethical concerns, something vague but serious enough that he wasn't eligible for rehire. The truth was, they were drowning way before they ever came to me. The loan wasn't just to build credit. It was a last-ditch attempt to maintain a life they couldn't afford. Then came the biggest twist of all. My lawyer asked almost offhand, "Did they ever list you as a reference or emergency contact anywhere else?" I said yes. Derek once used me on a lease application, years back. She dug deeper. A week later, she showed up at my house with a file folder and a face like stone. "Sarah took out a credit card in your name," she said. 2 years ago. Maxed out at $6,500. She's been making minimum payments using a fake email account. I thought I was going to throw up. They didn't just use my credit for one loan. They'd been using me for years. We filed a police report. Identity theft. Credit card fraud. That changed everything. The bankruptcy couldn't wipe away crimes. This wasn't just about civil damages anymore. This was criminal. The detective assigned to my case was a quiet man in his 50s who didn't say much, but he took everything seriously. After reviewing the documents, he told me something I'll never forget. "You're not the first parent I've seen go through this," he said. "But you're one of the few who's fighting back. In the meantime, I still hadn't seen my grandkids. It had been nearly a year now. Then, one afternoon, I got a message on Facebook from my granddaughter. Just one sentence. "Grandma, is it true what they said about the money?" I sat with that message for hours. I didn't respond right away. I wasn't sure what I could say to a 13-year-old that wouldn't tear her world apart. But I finally wrote back. "They didn't tell you the truth. But I still love you. That's never changed." She didn't reply. Not that day. But the next time, she sent a picture of her and her brother holding the birthday presents I'd left on the porch. There was still hope. But I wasn't done. Not by a long shot. The day the police came to Sarah's door, I wasn't there. I didn't need to be. I already knew what was coming. They arrested her for credit card fraud and identity theft. Quietly, no sirens. A detective told me later that she cried, begged them not to cuff her in front of the kids. But they did. Derek wasn't home. He was picked up later. Turns out the state had been investigating him too. He'd been running some fake side business under someone else's license. Fraud on top of fraud. The case didn't go to trial. They both took plea deals. Sarah got 18 months probation, community service, and a hefty fine. Derek got a year in county jail. But the criminal record, that would follow them forever. They lost the bankruptcy protection. The courts declared their behavior willful and malicious, meaning they couldn't escape the debts. And that meant every dollar they owed me was back on the table. I filed a lien on their house. Then a wage garnishment order, as soon as Sarah got a job again, part-time admin work at a local dentist's office. Every month, money started coming in. Not a lot, but enough. Enough to remind them this wasn't going away. Then came the custody petition. I didn't file for full custody. I couldn't raise kids again at my age. But I did petition for grandparent visitation rights, citing Sarah's criminal record and emotional manipulation. The court agreed. I now see my grandkids every other weekend. The first few visits were awkward. They didn't know what to believe. But kids are smart. They saw the difference. I never badmouthed their parents. I didn't have to. One day, my grandson asked, "Grandma, did Mom really use your name for money?" I said, "Yes." And it hurt. But I still love her. I just don't trust her. He nodded slowly. That was enough. As for Sarah, she never apologized. Not really. I got a typed letter once, probably something her probation officer made her do. It was cold, full of excuses. Blamed stress, pressure, everyone but herself. I keep that letter in a drawer, not because I need to read it, but because it reminds me who she really is. They sold the house about 6 months after the repossession. Couldn't keep up with the payments, especially after Derek went to jail. They moved into a small rental apartment in Mesa. The BMW? Long gone. Repossessed and auctioned. Last I checked, they were driving a 10-year-old Honda. Social media? Quiet. No more luxury life posts. No more cryptic shots of champagne glasses or ocean views. Just silence. And me? I got my credit repaired. Took time. Took paperwork. But I got it back. I even treated myself to something small. A used but solid Subaru Forester. Practical. Paid in cash. Sometimes people ask me if I regret fighting back. If I wish I'd just let it go. No. Not once. Because if I hadn't stood up for myself, they would have kept taking. And worse, they would have taught their kids that you can hurt the people who love you most and walk away without a scratch. My revenge wasn't just about getting even. It was about reminding them and myself that there are lines you do not cross. Not even with family. Especially not with family. And now, every second Saturday when my grandkids run up my driveway and hug me like they used to, I remember what this fight was for. Not the money. Not the car. Not even the credit. It was for me. It was for my peace. And I earned it. Every damn bit.